It's that time again as Monarch Radio brings you back to those golden days before television, when radio was the main source of family entertainment in the home. Stay tuned for another one of those drama or comedy episodes from way back when, as performed by the Monarch old-time radio players.
The Witch's Tale was a horror fantasy radio series which aired from May 21st, 1931 to June 13, 1938 on WOR, the Mutual Radio Network, and was the first horror drama on the radio. For syndication, the shows were recorded live during the broadcast and distributed to other stations. The series was written by Alonzo Dean Cole, who would act on the show as well. It was very successful in its time. In later years, Cole would become the writer of the popular radio series Casey, Crime Photographer. The role of Old Nancy, who hosted the show, was initially played by stage actress Adelaide Fitzallen, who died in 1935 at the age of 79. Cole replaced her with 13-year-old Miriam Wolfe, and Martha Wentworth was also heard as Old Nancy on occasion. Cole himself provided the sounds of Old Nancy's cat, Satan. Cole's wife, Marie O'Flynn, portrayed the lead female actors on the program, and the supporting cast included Mark Smith and Alan DeVitt. Today's episode, The Haunted Crossroad, aired on October 12, 1937. It is now Monarch Radio's pleasure to bring this episode as performed by the Monarch old-time radio players. The Witch's Tale. What follows is yet another eerie, weird, blood-chilling tale is told by Old Nancy, the Witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise cat. They are waiting for you now.
122 years old today, I be. Yes, sir, 122 years old. Well, Satan, tell everyone to douse their lights. Meow. That's it. We want lots of darkness when we tell our bedtime stories. Draw up the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze in deep, and soon, by the light of the moon and the stars, you'll see a barren stretch of land where two roads meet in old Massachusetts. 3 policemen stand a-talking there beside their motorcycle bikes, and soon you'll hear the story of the haunted crossroads. The haunted crossroads! Meow.
You sure you're not scared to have us leave you here alone, Tom?
Of course he's scared, Sarge. Look at his knees shaking.
Yeah, I'll probably yell for help the minute you guys are out of my sight.
Sure, Gene. I don't think he's properly frightened.
I guess not. Well, if he sees any spooks, he can't say we haven't warned him.
Seriously, boy, you'll keep your eyes peeled for other things than ghosts on this patrol.
You bet I will, Uncle Pat. I hope it's my luck to have the skunk who knocked off Smith and Barkley here to start something with me.
Well, I hardly think that will happen. Those killings weren't done by the same man.
Well, they were both stabbed in the back the same way.
Well, that doesn't prove anything. Several fellows were stabbed to death right here after the Civil War, then another about 20 years ago, according to our records. It wasn't the same murderer who got them and the 2 cops from our troops.
Well, unless you believe the crazy stories about this place being haunted.
Well, I got to be riding off to troop headquarters or Captain Dillon will be skinning the hide off of me. And you, Gene Hardy, had best be getting on your patrol.
I'll get that old bike moving. And when you get home in the morning, Tom, remind your sister she's got a movie date with me tomorrow night.
Well, Kathleen is not apt to forget any date she has with you.
Trooper Hardy, your job at the moment is to keep your eyes peeled for speeders and reckless drivers.
Well, I'll try to remember that, Sarge. Well, good night.
Well, good night, Gene.
Good night, boys.
Kathleen, all morning, da da dee, dee da 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 dee dee.
Uncle Pat!
What's the
Help!
Tom? I'm coming back, kid. Coming back.
Gene!
I'm coming, Sarge.
It's Tom. Oh, merciful God.
Sarge, what is it? What's happened?
Come quick.
I'm here. What happened? Tom?
Yes, he's dead.
He can't be dead. We just left him.
I started right after you rode away, and then I heard him yelling, "Oh, merciful God, I raised that boy. He was like my own son."
He's been stabbed in the back, just as Smith was stabbed a week ago, and Barkley.
Here at these same rotten crossroads.
Now put yourself together, Sarge. You know what I thought of Tom, but we're cops. Listen, you were back here before I was. You must have seen something.
I saw no more than you see now. Whoever did it got away. They got away.
Take it easy. Take it easy. Tom wasn't alone here for more than a minute. No one could have gotten to him across these open fields and then away again in the time I left and came back. Yet I saw no one but him and you. What was that?
A woman's laugh. A woman's laugh. You hear it too?
It sounded like it was here, beside me.
Right here. Right beside us. At me very elbow.
No, yet no one's here that we can see.
An invisible woman? That's the craziest part of the whole crazy story.
But we did hear it, Captain Eldon.
It's true, so help me.
But there wasn't any woman, by your own confession. You said you searched and couldn't find her.
We searched everywhere around, sir, but there's no place for anyone to hide.
And like the Hicks around here, you come to the conclusion that those old crossroads are haunted. A female ghost stabbed Tom Fallon with a very ungodly steel knife, I suppose, which she carried away with her because you couldn't find it either. That's a fine way for two policemen to explain a murder.
We're only telling you what really happened.
But it couldn't have happened.
Just the same, it did. Now look here, sir. Tom Fallon was my closest friend. I'm engaged to marry his sister. Sergeant McGee here is his uncle. You don't think we'd lie to you while Tom's dead body lies out there in the squad room?
It was like me own son.
Here, Sergeant Pat, sit down. I'm sorry I have to pound at you like this, but Tom is the second of the troop to be killed inside a week at the same place in the same way. And last year we found Barkley dead there. 3 policemen stabbed to death, and we haven't a single lead to the rat who did it.
You think the same person killed them all, sir?
Yes, and that person is a man, not a laughing invisible woman, a man with the strength enough to kill in a single blow. Hardy, you say Fallon wasn't out of your sight more than a few minutes before you heard him scream.
I had only passed the first turn south of the crossroads, a minute and a half at most.
And you got back to him in about half that time? How about you, Sergeant McGee?
I left Tom right after Trooper Hardy rode away, sir, and headed north.
And neither of you saw any vehicle approach from the east or west, and you nor passed any.
No, sir.
There was no traffic at all.
Then in the 70 or 80 seconds that Fallon was alone, someone ran across that completely open space, drove a knife into Tom Fallon's back, and then ran away again.
It's crazy, but that's the way it must have happened.
It's the only way it could have happened.
It didn't happen. It's impossible. The world's greatest sprinter couldn't have covered the necessary distance in that amount of time. And any man must make a little noise, yet Fallon saw and heard nothing until the knife was in his back. You're lying to me, both of you. By the Lord, if I don't know how close you were to the boy, I'd say you bumped him off yourselves.
Captain Eldon.
Don't say that, don't.
I'm sorry. I don't mean that, of course. But unless you fellows change your story, the coroner's jury is going to ask some highly embarrassing questions. You've established yourself as the only persons in the vicinity who could have come close enough to Fallon.
No one is going to think we had anything to do with this when they recollect the other killings at the Crossroads, even if they won't believe we heard that woman laugh. You've forgotten, Captain, that Tom is the third to die out there, by the same man's hand, you say. Last week when Smith was killed, Sergeant McGee and I were on duty with you in this station from the time Smith left here until the time his body was found. And when Barkley got his a year ago,
George, you and I were up in Maine doing some fishing, don't you remember? And Jean here.
and I was serving as motorcycle escort for the governor. No one will question that alibi.
You're right. But if you've told me the truth about tonight, then what is the answer? I didn't have to listen about another yarn about Smith and Barkley's murder. No one was near them when it happened. They had been dead for hours when they were found. Excuse me, boys, for the things I've said. If I don't find someone to pin the stabbing on pretty soon, I'll be believing those damn Crossroads are haunted. That's all. Just a minute. Come.
We found Miss Fallon.
Bring her in.
Yes, sir.
Does she know her brother is...
No. I telephoned her to come down here. That's all. You better break the news, Pat. You're her uncle.
No, not me. I can't even see her now. Let me out this other door before she...
Captain Eldon, why did you telephone me to come down here? Jean, Uncle Pat, why are you here? What's wrong?
Let me out of here. Let me out.
Uncle Pat, it's Tom? Something's happened to Tom?
Don't look at me. I don't know anything about it.
Kathleen, dear.
Miss Fallon?
Tom was posted at the Crossroads tonight. He's been killed there like the others?
Yes. Your brother is...
Tom! Oh, Tom! Oh.
Kathleen, dear.
Let me out of here. Let me out.
Oh, Pat.
I can't bear to hear her cry like that. I can't bear to have her eyes upon me. She has eyes like Tom, and they accuse me. They accuse me.
Accuse?
Before God, I swear I didn't mean to kill him.
What?
You?
Yes, I killed him. I didn't tell you the truth. I never left him at his post. I killed him because something from the blackest hell made me do it. It got into me. I stabbed the knife into his back and I couldn't help myself. I was made to do it. Made to do it. Now I'm going to pay for what I've done.
Don't let him get his gun. He shot himself.
Uncle Pat!
He's dead. Tom Fallon's murderer has just killed himself?
He stabbed my brother. Oh, no, he couldn't have.
You heard what he said, Miss Fallon.
But who killed Smith and Barkley? McGee couldn't have done that.
Why did he say he couldn't help himself? That he was made to kill his nephew?
And what was the meaning of that woman's laugh I heard? You, in the car. Drive on. No stopping here.
Oh, it's only me, Jean.
Oh, Kathleen.
You can put away your gun, but I'm glad to know you're being careful.
Why drive way out here at this hour, honey?
Oh, I couldn't sleep knowing you were posted all alone at these crossroads tonight.
Dear, I told you not to worry. A trooper has been posted alone here for 3 weeks now, ever since poor Tom was killed, and nothing's happened.
You think there's no danger here anymore, now that Uncle Pat is dead?
Look, you mustn't start thinking about him now.
Oh, it's rather difficult not to think about him. I will never understand.
He was out of his mind. It's the only explanation.
But what drove him out of his mind? What could have made him destroy someone he loved? As we know, he loved Tom, and he said he was made to do it.
I don't know.
Jean, you're all that I have left. If anything should happen to you now,
Now, nothing's going to hurt me, dear. Come on, get hold of yourself, sweetheart.
but Uncle Pat didn't have anything to do with the other deaths here. He was miles away when Smith and Bartley were stabbed. Jean, maybe this place is haunted.
Oh, you don't believe that stuff any more than I do. You're just all upset. Now here, I'm going to disobey all orders of the state police and join you in this car for a little roadside parking.
Oh, no, don't get in. I'd rather get out and walk a bit. I've never been out here, you know, at night, I mean.
Yeah, and you shouldn't be out here now. Fine thing, driving this deserted old road at midnight. Have you got that little gun I gave you?
Oh, yes, I always carry it when I drive alone.
Well, that's good. Well, come on then if you want to walk.
Jean, exactly where did you find Tom's body? Uncle Pat kneeling beside it?
We're not going to talk any more about that.
All right. Really wouldn't do me any good to know. Just a gloomy spot here. No cars passing. No road lamps.
These are just old county roads. No state trooper had to patrol here regularly until...
Until after Frank Bartley was found stabbed here.
Oh, Kathleen.
Oh, I want to talk about it, Jean. I loved Uncle Pat. He was a good man, not a killer or a maniac. And I've got to find out what made him do the thing he did. Find out what made him say he couldn't help himself. Uncle Pat was in Maine when Frank Bartley was killed. Tell me about that.
Well, all I know is Bartley didn't report on schedule. When they found him, he had been dead for several hours.
And then Smith, just a week before Tom.
Yeah, like Bartley, he had been dead for a long time when found.
But Uncle Pat couldn't have done it.
Oh, he wasn't out of my sight, and neither was Dalton or the others at any time that night. Well, after that, Captain Dalton made this a fixed post.
I can't understand it.
Neither can anyone else.
70 years ago, the papers say a town constable was stabbed here, and another constable about the time we were children. That makes 5, all police officers.
That's screwy, all right. But you mustn't think about it anymore, dear. Don't worry about me. Look around you. There's nothing but open spaces, sand and grass, and 2 level, high dirt roads. Why, there isn't a bush or a stone big enough for a cat to hide behind, let alone a man with a knife.
No one could come close to him here except someone he knew and trusted, as Uncle Pat was trusted by Tom, as you trusted me.
Hey, that's enough nonsense now. Go home, go to bed, and sleep. Keep that little automatic I gave you handy on the way. Night driving isn't safe for anyone.
I wish you'd let me stay.
Not a chance. You want me to lose my job? That's what happens to cops who entertain ladies during business hours.
But it's so gloomy here, so silent and eerie. It looks like a haunted place.
Oh, bunk. Here, Give me a kiss and say goodnight.
Oh, Gene, I can't lose you.
Well, you're not going to. Why, I'm safer here than being in church. What was that?
A woman laughing.
Well, that's what I heard the other night.
Look there.
A woman's in the road.
She wasn't there a moment ago. How?
Well, I'll soon find out.
Oh, Gene, come back here.
Stay in the car, Kathleen. You, in the black dress. I want to talk to you.
No, don't follow her, Gene. Come back.
Wait, I tell you, whoever you are, don't walk away from me. I'm an officer of the law.
Don't go any closer to her. Don't let her touch you, Gene. Keep away. She's disappeared, vanished as I watched her. Where did she go? Come back, come back.
I'm coming.
What happened to that woman?
I'm coming.
Gene, what's happened to you?
I've got to do it.
Why are you staring at me like that?
Got to do it. Got to do it.
Why are you opening a pocket knife?
Can't help myself. Can't help myself.
You look as though you didn't know me, as though I'm someone you hate. Gene, I'm Kathleen. You love me.
Kathleen, love.
Don't come any closer. Keep away.
Kathleen, love. Your gun. Kathleen, shoot me before I reach you. Shoot me. It's the only way to stop me. I can't help myself.
No, no.
Yes, shoot me or I'll kill you with this knife.
No, you're mad.
Shoot, I say, before I drive this knife into your back.
Oh, may God forgive me. It's the only way.
Oh.
I've shot you, Gene. I've shot you. She's here beside me, the woman in black. Keep away. Keep away. No. Ah!
Come on, Miss Fallon. I want to hear more about this woman who laughed, this ghost.
Oh, please, please don't ask me any questions. Go up to that operating room and again, Captain Alden, make sure Gene is going to live. I only shot him to stop him.
You stopped him, all right.
Oh, here's the doctor at last. Oh, doctor.
That's all right, Miss Fallon. We've taken the bullet out of Trooper Hardy's shoulder, and he'll be up and around in just a few days.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
And also Gene's tough constitution.
Now that's off your mind. Will please tell me exactly what happened at the Crossroads tonight?
I'll answer all your questions now.
What I've already heard this evening has made me very curious.
Sit down, Doc. It's your office and your hospital. Go ahead, Miss Fallon. Let's hear all about that laughing, appearing, and disappearing woman.
If I were you, Captain, I would withhold my judgment a while. Trooper Hardy has been babbling about this phantom woman under the ether. Under ether, people don't lie. He's been repeating over and over. He couldn't help himself.
He couldn't. Some way, somehow, she made him want to kill me. But he loved me. That love was stronger than her power. He had time to warn me.
So you obligingly shot him?
Yes.
And the woman reappeared again?
Right beside me, she laughed. She laughed horribly. And then, as I looked at her, she just wasn't there.
A woman dressed in black, you say?
Yes, a dress, all folds. It might have been a shroud. Her face was like the dead. It was an awful purplish tinge, like she'd been strangled. Around her throat was a heavy rope that dangled to the ground. Oh God, I will see it till the day I die.
I don't believe in ghosts. You just shot one of my troopers. I don't care if you were engaged to marry him.
That's enough, Captain.
That's what?
I'm boss inside the walls of this hospital, and this girl's in no condition to stand your third degree. Besides, I think she's telling the truth.
The truth?
Why not? We can't call a thing a lie simply because we don't understand it. Have you any better explanation than you've heard for the tragedy at these old crossroads?
You don't think anything supernatural?
I think something that has lived beyond the span of ordinary human life is responsible. Remember those almost forgotten tales in the newspapers have searched out? The man who was stabbed here in 1865? The other chap in the early 1900s? One of the reporters told me they've discovered several more crossroads stabbings in the records. A peace officer was killed here in Andrew Jackson's time. Remember the watch back when Washington was president.
All policemen?
By Jove, I hadn't thought of it in that light.
And Miss Fallon, you said the phantom woman had a rope around her neck.
Yes, a thick rope with a heavy knot.
A hangman's rope, and at the crossroads in the early days, criminals were hanged and buried. What's that got to do with it?
Maybe a lot more than you think. Excuse me, Captain, so I can move that chair aside and get to the bookcase.
What?
I want to find something I've read and more than half forgotten. Policemen, officers of the law, they being the only ones who die at those crossroads where a gallows tree once stood.
That's a coincidence.
Ah, but you must admit a strange coincidence. Here's the book, An Old History of this County.
History?
Here it is. I knew I read it somewhere. Look.
Oh, what is it, Doctor?
I'll read it to you. Listen. On that 15th day of August, 1721, by order of the King's Governor, a gibbet of good stout oak has been erected at Berkeley Crossroads. That's the name of our old place, Captain Eldon.
Go on reading.
And there's the criminal Goody Fairfax was taken. Still protesting her innocence of foul crimes, a jury of her peers have found her guilty.
Let her dangle from the rope.
No, I swear I'm innocent. The officers have lied.
Hold on tightly to her blanker so I can fix this rope around her scrawny neck.
Let me go. Let me go. You cannot kill me.
She wriggles like an eel.
Don't waste no more time.
I have done no murder. Have mercy. I am innocent, I swear.
Hey, you've got the fair trial, old maid, and been found guilty, and soon be a crime to be buried in the soil of infamy here beyond the gallows tree.
Nay.
Aye, so all who pass can spit on your grave.
Ah, the rope is fast at last.
All is ready, my Lord Sheriff. Come and give the word. Quiet! Let the King's High Sheriff speak.
Nay, I who am about to die this unjust death will speak. Hear me, ye officers of so-called justice who have decreed this fate for me. As I die innocent of crime, I vow to return from death a murder you hanged me for. And ye officers of blind law, do visit death on me, so I shall visit death on you with no more sense of right or pity. You mean to bury me beneath this gibbet, unhallowed ground, away from God? Whilst I remain away from God, beware, I warn thee, for not even death will stay my hate. I will return to bring ye death, officers of the law. I shall return to bring you death. I shall return to...
And though still screaming her threats of ghostly vengeance, the murderess Goody Fairfax was hanged to death. Then the old account goes on. Her body is cut down and buried beneath it at the old Berkeley Crossroads.
The haunted crossroads.
Captain Eldon, whether or not you believe in ghosts, it might be a kindly thing if you search for Goody Fairfax's grave. If you find a place of restless bones and hallowed ground, a kindly thing and a wise thing.
I haven't got over it yet. There were human bones, a woman's bones, buried beneath those crossroads.
I knew you'd find them if you only persisted in your search.
He persisted all right, making us troopers do the digging with me on double shift. Fine way to treat a man only a week out of hospital.
And a newly married man.
I thought that was a good way for you to earn your sergeant stripes.
Sergeant stripes?
Yeah, here's your warrant.
Captain Eldon.
I had to make you two crazy ghosts here some sort of wedding present, and this didn't cost me anything.
Oh, how can I ever thank you?
Be happy, and Kathleen, let that first shot at your husband be your last shot.
Well, that's the end of that one, Satan. You folks come see me again on my birthday. We'll have another cheerful yarn to spin ye.
Featured in today's cast were yours truly, Charles Davis, as the announcer, and Tom Fallon. Jane Utsumi as Old Nancy. Bob Cuddy as Sergeant Pat McGee. Charlie Pelletier as Gene Hardy. Mike Stevens as Captain George Eldon and the Executioner. Linda Sardi as Kathleen Fallon. Karen Steves as Goody Fairfax. Bob Jepson as the Doctor and State Trooper. And Judy Katz as Satan. Due to the current shelter in place, our recreation of this Witch's Tale episode was conducted remotely, where cast members were located at their respective homes. This show was recorded and edited by Judy Katz and was directed by Howard Wishner. Howard Wishner also provided sound effects using sound recordings from freesfx.co.uk, as well as portions from the original script. Casting and script selection was provided by Maureen Wishner.